It's the AM News. I'm Sweetie Abochi. Let's get right into the details. First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joseph Osei-Owusu, is making a strong push for current Majority Leader Afenyo-Markin to be retained as the leader of the NPP caucus in the next Parliament. There is currently intense jostling among senior NPP MPs, lobbying party leaders to be appointed as the caucus leader when the 9th Parliament is sworn in next year. But Joseph Osei-Owusu, who is retiring after his current term, believes for the sake of unity, the Efutu MP, Afenyo-Markin, must be retained. Here's more.
Simple. One, I'm not a member of the 9th Parliament, and nobody has asked me to do anything for the 9th Parliament. But just as a 4-term member who has worked in the House, I strongly believe in longevity and experience. From our own actions and inactions, you can tell that when Che was the minority leader and majority leader, he stood out very clearly. But it did not happen by accident. He started as a chief whip and grew up to become a leader. The longevity brings experience and clarity. So I would not support any request for a new person to be brought into the picture now. If you ask me, let Afenyo-Markin continue. He started, there's nobody who has had that experience before him. The only person who has had that experience is Honorable Osei-Owusu. He is leaving Parliament. He has now the only person who has the sufficient, not even sufficient, but some experience which will be useful in going forward. So I will not recommend any other person. If you ask my view is that let Afenyo-Markin continue.
Joseph Osei-Owusu also says he will back Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia if he decides to run for president again, despite his defeat in the 2024 election.
The way Ghanaians evaluated our performance is different from the way I see it. Therefore, I can't continue based on my perception or my experience only. We should take time to listen and be guided by what we hear. So that's the way I look at it. The evidence. But as we speak, everybody throwing about allegations and things is the proper word. They're just conjecturing. Let's allow ourselves time. Let's allow cool heads to come and let's get proper explanation as to what happened. There's really no justification in rushing now to claim that because of A, B, C, D's, Z happened. No, I think that will not be an appropriate evaluation of the situation we are in now. I think that's no matter. There's a process for selecting our candidate. When the time comes, the process will be taken through. And I'm sure if he wishes to contest again, he is totally capable of winning.
Moving on, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is pledging his commitment to pursue reforms aimed at enhancing tertiary education in Ghana in the next NPP administration. Speaking at the 16th Congregation of the University of Professional Studies in Accra, the president underscored the need to position tertiary institutions in the country to compete on a global stage while equipping students with the requisite tools to thrive.
Over the past 8 years, my government has prioritized free secondary high school education, ensuring that every Ghanaian child, regardless of background, has access to quality education. Our commitment does not stop there. We're actively pursuing reforms to enhance tertiary education in Ghana, improving access, governance, and quality. These efforts aim to position institutions like UPSA to compete on a global stage while equipping students with the tools to thrive.
The Center for Democratic Development, that is CDD, in a joint report with the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, the West African Network for Peace Building, and the National Election Response Group have reported a total of 76 incidents during the 2024 general elections. According to the report, the reported incidents resulted in 6 deaths and 46 injuries. We'll tell you more in this report.
The report further revealed the Ashanti region recorded 3 deaths, with 2 in the Afenyo North constituency and 1 in the Ahafo and North Southwest constituency. The Savannah, Central and Northern regions each recorded 1 death. Here is Nana Kwabena Abrompa Mensa, Director in charge of Security and Sector Governance at CDD and Kodeo.
In 2024, we've recorded so far 76, comprising 6 people dying, 24 vandalism, invasion of public facilities, burning, destruction, other things. Then fatal injuries so far 45. So we have recorded 76 incidents so far, which we want to validate. For my data you saw here, we have the Ashanti region, I think 3, having 2 in Akomadan, 1 in Mankranso, which is Ahafano Southwest. We had 1 in Ewutu Senya East, which is Kaswa, right? We have, I forgot, Damango, we have 1, which is Savannah region. Then we have 1 also in Nyampala, which is, I think, northern region. So this is the breakdown we have so far.
Executive Director for the Foundation for Security and Development in Africa, Mrs. Theodora Williams-Anti, condemned the violence that has marred coalition processes in some constituencies.
However, the numbers of violent incidences that we have seen and still continue to see, including deaths, especially in post-election violence, is not at all what we expected and must be condemned, and we call it very, very unfortunate.
Reverend Dr. Fred Digbe, co-chair of the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, Kodeo, urged the Electoral Commission to digitize the transmission of results to help prevent the violence that has characterized the coalition process.
Perhaps what it is calling for is a proper digitalization of our system. From the polling station, we send it straight to somewhere. Finish. We don't need all of these things. So what is the big deal about these coalition houses? We are behaving as if we are in the ancient of days, the pre-digital age, where we have to get papers and count them. No.
The police service has arrested 132 persons in connection with election violence, with 42 remanded into custody, 16 on court bail and 71 on police inquiry bail. Collins Frimpon's report read to you.
Now let's move to the Supreme Court, who've unanimously dismissed a petition by journalist and lawyer Richard De La Sky against the controversial Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. Led by Justice Lovelace Avro-Johnson, the court ruled that the bill, which seeks to criminalize LGBTQI-related activities, is not yet law and cannot be reviewed. Mr. Sky and Amanda Odoy argued procedural flaws in Parliament rendered the bill unconstitutional. But the court upheld the legislative process, emphasizing that only enacted laws are subject to review. Here's more.
This is a private member's bill. The Constitution specifies the way in which private members' bills should be brought. We do not believe that it was done in that way. So when the Supreme Court says that, this was like a precipitate action, with respect, we respect his decision, but we disagree because it says Parliament shall not proceed. So at what point shall Parliament not proceed? Clearly it cannot be after they passed an act. It is when they are considering it that they cannot proceed until they have done A, B, C, D. And we did not have the evidence that those procedural steps had been undertaken.
You are a human rights activist. What do you feel, what image do you think this will paint for the country, looking at this latest?
Oh, well, we still have a rule of a country which is governed by the rule of law. We went to court. The court has given its decision. They're separate arms of government. The different arms can rule differently. We can also exhaust our different remedies. But we have not seen the full judgment of the courts. It says it will be ready on Friday. So we are waiting to see what the full judgment is, and then we will determine what remedies, what steps are available to us.
Okay. We've also seen countries influencing one another across the continent with regard to this legislation. What does this send to the rest of the continent?
Well, I mean, Uganda passed a bill like this. In the first time that it passed the act was challenged. The Constitutional Court ruled against the act. It went back again. This time, they were not challenging the procedural issues. They were challenging the content of the act. Largely, the court let it stand, although it said that some of the provisions were not right. So I hope that our courts learn from each other. They take steps from each other. But we still, as a human rights defender and as somebody who believes in constitutionalism, I take what the Constitution says seriously about protecting the rights of all Ghanaians, about not discriminating against any Ghanaians, you know.
Meanwhile, NDC MPs have welcomed the decision of the Supreme Court to dismiss actions filed against the anti-LGBTQ bill. Member of Parliament for Medina, Francis Javier Susu, argues that the Supreme Court has finally done the right thing. He also says the ball is now in the courts of President Akufo-Addo to either sign the bill into law or give reasons why he cannot.
I think that the court just upheld the position of the law because Parliament is a legislative arm of government. The work of Parliament ends with a presidential assent. If the president does not assent, there are provisions in the Constitution that shows what the president is supposed to do. You know, convey in a memorandum to Parliament the reason for refusal to assent, for Parliament to then take further steps, whether to amend provisions of the law and so on and so forth. It is up for the president to now either assent or not assent, but whatever be the case, there's a room in the law for the president to let Parliament know the reasons for which he doesn't want to assent and which provisions of the law he has problems with and what proposals he has for Parliament. We don't have enough time. However, we'll leave it to the president and see what the president will do with this one. If this bill dies with the 8th Parliament, it won't be the only bill that dies with the old Parliament. I have introduced or initiated about 20 private bills. 3 of them have passed into law. Only one has presidential assent. Indeed, the other one that abolished death penalty in the Ghana Armed Forces has not been signed yet. It's still with the president.
Now, right here in the capital of Greater Accra, about 3,000 students of the Kashima cluster of schools have been left traumatized after a devastating fire gutted their school building. And this is according to the Ablekuma North Municipal Director of Education, Ebenezer Periofori. And this also follows the fire that destroyed their school building, which was being used to store electoral materials for the 2024 general election. The fire is suspected to be an act of arson. Instead of attending classes, many students are now at home, while others are loitering or waiting under the scorching sun for their turn to write exams. Joy News' Jacqueline and Samayabua spent a day at the school and now reports. We'll bring you the sights and sounds from the Kashima cluster of schools in a subsequent bulletin. But moving on, Christmas is a special time of the year for a lot of Ghanaians, myself included, not just because it's a celebration of the birth of Christ. My colleague Esther Nkrumah visited the bustling streets of Osu to interact with patrons to find out what makes Christmas special to them.
When you see the streets of Accra and major roundabouts lit up with glittering fairy lights and beautiful decorations, you know it's that time of the year again, Christmas.
Come and behold him, born the King of angels.
Christmas is a favorite time of the year for many people. For some, it's more than just a religious significance. It's a time to show love to others, bond with family, and well, it's about the excitement of receiving hampers from employers and loved ones, and not to forget the much-deserved break from work.
We're here on the vibrant streets of Osu to find out what makes Christmas truly special to people. Is it the joy that comes from giving, the warmth from family, or perhaps something special? We'll find out.
We individual, we normally see that as a whole year that you've been alive, then as the year is going to end, you need to give thanks to God, and at the same time, actually celebrate with your family. Just gather your family and then just show some love and make them happy. Yeah.
So for you, Christmas is about Thanksgiving and also celebrating with family.
Yeah, exactly, because Christmas, for the whole year that since you've not been in a hospital, and then if not encountered any issue, then you need to give thanks to the Lord, because it's not everyone who got it.
You use that holiday season to reconcile with families, spend some time together, and it's also something good. Yeah. But to me, being alive alone, get to spend time with families and friends that I haven't seen for a long time alone, is enough for me.
The presents.
The presents. How about you?
Okay, for me, during Christmas, most family come together to celebrate. So I think family from different parts of the world, they all come together. So it's like a family reunion for me.
Okay. So for you, it's family. And for you, it's a present. Yeah. So what present do you want this Christmas? In case your parents are watching you.
Okay, so I need a new headset.
And for others, it's about the food and the Christmas decorations.
About the Christmas tree, when you see it, you know that yes, Christmas is on. And about the Santa dressing, it's so beautiful and nice. You see it and it's all fun and you are laughing. You're like, yeah, people are happy and it's nice.
Mine is the food. You see people, that's when delicious meals and the food. You bring out your cooking skills, so yeah, you eat correct food.
Okay. What's your favorite Christmas meal?
Most people like the rice with the chicken and stuff, but I would like to go with the fufu. You see the fufu? Yes.
Some nice fufu and some very good goat light soup.
Yes.
Whether it's the food, spending time with family, or the beautiful Christmas decor, one thing is certain: Christmas holds a special place in our hearts. For Joy News, Esther A.C. Nkrumah's report.
On the third day of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
Just before we get into our business updates, a gentle reminder that the 25th of December is my birthday. Benjamin Akakwe is standing by to serve as business update.
Welcome to business. Now, the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors is giving the assurance that the country has adequate fuel stocks to meet the needs of consumers. This follows earlier reports that some depots across the country had been hit by shortages of petroleum products, with a few bulk oil distribution firms now holding stock. But speaking to Joy Business, CEO of the Chamber, Dr. Patrick Kukwofori, says there is no cause for alarm.
Currently, I don't think there is any cause for alarm. You check the vessels lineup and what has been discharged, like your contacted NPP did indicate. We have almost 5 weeks supply, and then also we have about 3 or so vessels that are lined up to discharge the various petroleum products. We must admit that there were a bit of issues with regards to some specific products, but whilst we were able to communicate that with our partners and that of the regulator, we were able to reach a solution by picking 2 gasoline vessels to augment the potential shortage that others were feeling it was going to happen. So that is currently not an issue now. And then we can also confirm that vessels are lined up that are going to be supplied to them.
I then guess then there isn't anything to worry about, right? As you rightly mentioned.
Nothing to worry about for both the white products and the LPG. Everything is under control.
Now, traders of imported construction hardware from Kanishi have expressed their concern about why prices have increased despite the decline in the dollar rate. They explained that this is because the dollar remains unstable and that goods were purchased before the rate dropped. However, they are assuring buyers prices will drop once the dollar stabilizes completely.
Last month, when the dollar was very high, they did some importation, and it is based on the value of the dollar that they use to do the importation. So if suddenly there's a drop in the dollar rate, you cannot just, initiate price changes. You have to sell for a while. And if the dollar keeps stable, or if it gets stable for a period, then you can now consider price reduction. So it's not an automatic price adjustment that the dollar has gone down. So today we should also reduce prices. So it will take some time.
Right now we are waiting for the new coming president, whether the goods or the market prices, things will come down. We are hoping. So people are complaining, the dollar has come down, but the prices of the tariffs and the goods in the market have not come down. So we are hoping, if anything will happen better. We hope that the new coming government will do something better for us.
Well, there we are. It's a wrap for our business update. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Thank you, Ben. And it's a wrap for the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. You want to stay with us because you know that the news review comes right up next. Nanaya Sapong from the Movement of Change, Remy Edmondson, National Secretary of the PPP, as well as Afenyo-Markin, former President of the GJA, are joining us to review the papers. Please stay.